Welcome, Vicki. Why don't you introduce yourself to the public?
Well, thank you very much. And of course, my name is Vicki Vaughn, and I live in Walnut Creek, California. And I'm a sister in our organization, but a member of the Summit Lighthouse, a keeper of the flame. And I'm so glad to be here with you.
Thank you. Yeah, so our channel is basically um, it's how you found the path to soul freedom. Do you want to, which has, which many of us would say is the ascension, finding God permanently. Do you want to talk about that?
Oh, I would be more than happy to share that information with you. I would just kind of as a background, I was a Protestant most of my life and live in a little small town because they didn't have a Catholic church. And so that was until I moved to a larger city of 59,000 where they had, actually another really nice Protestant church and so forth. And I went for a while. But then after I graduated, I was going into for nurses training. And so as part of our training, we had to do the rosary in the morning. And after some months, I just fell in love with Mother Mary. And and I stayed in that school for a year and a half. And unfortunately, I left and got married, which I did finish some years later, of course. But I, even after my divorce and so forth, I still continue to go to the Catholic Church. One day, though, I was kneeling there, and after the Mass, I said, something's wrong. It's changed, something not the same. And I won't go into that right now, but I did continue no matter in my love for Mother Mary, but I was looking and looking. I lived in Chicago in 1973 then. I was inspired to take some guitar lessons, Kitty No No, and I learned Green Sleeves, which is Mark Prophet's theme song. So I did get inspired to move into California. Of course, I didn't know why this happened exactly, but went out there. And after I got out to California, I was looking for this real light again. Not at a conscious level, sort of like, but I was just going to all these churches in the Bay Area. Where is it? I got to find it. I got to find whatever I'm looking for. And I was working in a hospital. I was a regular nurse and I met somebody that said, "Why don't you go to San Francisco Teaching Center?" So I did. The door opened, and there was on the wall a picture of El Moria, one of the Ascended Masters, and I knew I am home. And I went to some of their activities for about some few weeks and so forth. But we had Sunday service downtown, and my very first one was a dictation where one of the Ascended Masters, Saint Johannes, said this was a recording from about a week or two before. At one time, he said the Catholic Church received most of the light from God, the Pope. But because the Catholic Church had muddied its waters, they didn't say anything more. But it wasn't exact words, misused the light, whatever it is, what they said. And that dispensation was taken away and given to us, our organization, the Summit Lighthouse. I can't even begin to tell you the tears coming down my eyes and knowing what happened, why things weren't the same. Not that I don't feel good, I don't feel happy that that happened to the church, the Catholic Church, but at least I knew why I was feeling the way I was feeling. Anyway, I started my spiritual path after some few weeks and months of studying, became a keeper of the flame. And then later on, a communicant of the church, and I served on staff for the Summit Lighthouse in Camelot in Southern California, and then on the ranch for a while and so forth. There is nothing that I can really put in exact words. The wonderful, the unbelievable experience and the gift God has given me for the light from the Summit Lighthouse, the Ascended Masters, and the Church Universal and Triumphant. I pray that more and more will be able to experience this wonderful opportunity in their lives. And thank you very much.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I know you have a little fellow there trying to get on.
I just fell on all the things fell on the floor.
Pussycat, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so you mentioned things like dictation and keeper of the flame. Do you want to tell us any more about that, like what that is, or?
Well, becoming a keeper of the flame is one of the first steps of committing yourself to ongoing and regular services and offering decrees to our beloved Saint Germain, who sponsors us for that, becoming a keeper of the flame. So it's such a great opportunity when you start using the violet flame and seeing what this violet flame, these decrees with special purpose can do for your lives and becoming more, who you really are, what you're meant to be, and so forth. And what was the other question about the church? There was two questions.
Well, actually, you just said becoming who you really are and meant to be. Who is that? What is that?
Well, what that really means is that we come into our lives for purpose, for one purpose. And so when we are able to connect ourselves to God, to our higher self, to our real self, then we are then able to really outpicture and become who we really are and be able to complete and do what we came into this life for and balance karma and so forth.
Okay. And any tips on how you balance karma?
Well, for sure. Of course, I think offering decrees, the Ascended Masters have many teachings on this, but offering the decrees to help balance out past karma for myself and also on the planetary body. For example, what's going on in the world right now, I'm sure the violet flame is really helping. Um, and then, the more committed and the more dedication and devotion that you provide for this, then you can become, and then you can balance your karma, whatever you came into this lifetime for, and become who you really are, and send back to the very heart of God again, because that's why we're here. That's why we came back here to balance our karma.
Great. And then the goal is to make your ascension to go back to God
Of
permanently.
course, yes, thank you. Yes,
Great.
for
Okay.
sure.
And you mentioned you found El Moria and it made you when you walked into that teaching center. What's a teaching center and who's El Moria?
Well, a teaching center, and there are, I would say, quite a few in the country and actually in other countries as well, are where people come together and they're devoted to services and coming together as a group to worship, study, become more educated on the teachings of the Ascended Masters, and experiencing, which I am really into, is the flame of community coming together and being one. And so that answers about, so the teaching center, this, what was the other question, please?
Oh, well, you mentioned you found El Moria at the
Oh,
first
oh my
service.
gosh,
Yeah.
yes. Well, what the Ascended Masters have told us, or taught us, I should say, and I didn't know that at the time, except that when the door of the teaching center opened up, somebody, of course, opened it up, and on the wall was this picture of El Moya. And I later learned that when we go to sleep at night, we sometimes go to some of their retreats and study with the different Ascended Masters. And I must have been doing that because I know this is it. I recognize him. And I don't know that on a conscious level, I know, oh, yes, I was with him last night in that retreat. No, but all I was aware of that I knew that was I'm in the right place. And his picture was on the wall because he is one of the I guess more recognized sponsors for our organization, and that's why we've been studying in the retreats, and that's why his picture's on the wall so we could receive that light as we walk in the door.
Great, great. So a retreat is a place you're saying where the master is in heaven?
Oh, you could say heaven, yes, and a heavenly world, of course, above us. And the retreats are located in they're in different locations around the globe in the etheric level, heavenly world up there, you might say.
Great. Well,
Mhm.
that's very, and is there anything else that you would like people to know to help them if they want to find God in the path?
All I can say is that if somebody wants more information, they can go to the summitlighthouse.org and, for on the internet and see some of the wonderful just information and practices that are free that you can kind of get, um, I guess, oriented to the Ascended Masters and the organization. It's also a wonderful place for families, for those that are of actually all age groups as well, as in adults, and it's an experience that I would say I don't know what I could pay for this opportunity because it is not anything that you can pay for. It's something that you experience beyond any kind of financial arrangements and so forth. It is one of the greatest blessings that one could ask for. If your goal is to enter a spiritual path that's going to take you to that level of why you came here, what you're here, how can you balance out, how can you become who you really are, and be with wonderful individuals that are on the same path and join you in the spirit of community.
Thank you. Well, that was, thank you very much.
Oh,
Thanks
you're
for
very
having
welcome.
you come, and God bless you. We wish you well on your path.
Thank you very, very much. I'll leave now. Thank you.
Okay.